Brachos Daf Tez Vav, until the Mishnah gives three explanations of the pasuk. Erchatz benikyon kapoi va'asayva is mizbachacha Hashem Tehillim. I will wash in cleanliness my hands, and I will circle the mizbech. Sounds like you're washing before you go to pray. So the Gemara says there's three explanations of this. First of all, the best way to be mekabel ol malchus shamayim. The first part of the Gemara says the best way to be mekabel ol malchus shamayim is to use the restroom, then wash your hands, then put on tefillin, then say Shema, and then daven Shema Esrei. Why? Because if you notice, it says Erchatz benikyon kapay. I will wash in cleanliness my hands. The Gemara says that means that he's already clean, and now he's just washing his hands. It means he's already cleaned out the body, so he has used the restroom beforehand. Second pshat, the Gemara says this means that if somebody washes his hands, it's like he goes to the mikveh. Erchatz benikoyon kapoy. It's like I went to the mikveh and cleaned my entire body if I wash my hands. Third pshat, the Gemara says you do not have to wash your hands with water. You could wash it on something else. It doesn't say Erchatz b'mayim kapoy. I will wash with water my hands. Erchatz benikoyon, anything which cleans. The Gemara says that's Shema, because Shema you have to make sure you say on time, and it's not worthwhile to go running around looking for water. But Shema Esrei you have more time, and therefore you can spend time looking for water, and if there's water nearby, you have to go and get it and use it to wash your hands. You should not just wipe it on anything nearby. The Gemara says wood or stones or clothing. So, how far do you have to go for water? So the Gemara says, listen, if you want to go along your way, not out of your way, you should go a parsa. Out of your way, you only have to go a mil. But up to a mil, you do have to go. Now we start the next Mishnah. The Mishnah brings three halachas. What if you say Shema and it's not loud enough for you to hear? What if you say Shema and you mumble the words? And what if you say Shema in the wrong order of the words? So the first halacha saying Shema not loud enough to hear, it's a machlekes. Rabbi Yossi says you are not yaitza. Tanna Kama says you are. If you mumble the words, Rabbi Yossi says you are yaitza. Rabbi Yehuda says you're not. Saying it in the wrong order, everybody agrees you're not yaitza, and you have to go back to the place where you mixed up the order. Beginning the Gemara asks, what is Rabbi Yossi's reasoning when he says that you have to hear the words that you say when you say Shema? The Gemara says, what do you mean? It says Shema. Shema means hear. You got to be able to hear it. The Gemara says, well, we already said that word Shema, a few blot ago, we said that word Shema is coming to teach us that you should say it in a language you understand. The Gemara says, well, Rabbi Yossi says, well, that could teach you two things. If you have to understand it, it also has to be audible. Now, we have this machlokes between Rabbi Yossi and the Tanna Kama, who we're going to find out soon is Rabbi Yehuda, whether or not you're yaitza, if you say Shema too quietly to hear. Now, there are really three possible decisions in that question. It could be that you're not yaitza at all. It could be that you're yaitza, but that's not what you're supposed to do, which is what we call b'diavad. Or it could be that you're allowed to do it. You could say Shema, what we call lechatchila, without hearing anything. It's fine. Now, it's clear that Rabbi Yossi holds the third level. You're not yaitza. The question is, what does the Tanna Kama Rabbi Yehuda hold? He holds that you're yaitza, but does that mean that you're allowed to do it lechatchila, or only b'diavad you are yaitza? So the Gemara is going to compare a number of cases here to try to figure out what Rabbi Yehuda holds. Shema we discussed in the Mishnah. We're going to compare Truma, and we're going to compare Brachos Hamazon. So the Gemara first starts off by discussing Truma. Truma, the halacha is that somebody who cannot hear, a deaf man, should not take Truma, but if he took it, it's okay. B'diavad, it's okay. Now the reason he shouldn't take Truma is because he has to say the bracha on the Truma taking, and he can't hear the bracha. So it's a problem of not being able to hear. So the Gemara starts off saying, okay, this could be Rabbi Yossi's opinion. This Mishnah that says that a person who can't hear should not take Truma, lechatchila, but b'diavad is okay, could be Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi holds that Shema, you're not yaitza altogether if you don't hear your words. But that's because Shema is a mitzvah d'oraisa. But Truma, you're yaitza that you took Truma, you didn't hear the bracha. Fine. The bracha is not ma'akev, it doesn't block the Truma from happening. So Rabbi Yossi, who says that if you didn't hear your Shema, you're not yaitza, could agree that if you didn't hear your bracha on Truma, the Truma still counts. The Gemara says, what about Rabbi Yehuda? The Gemara wants to assume that Rabbi Yehuda, who says that you're yaitza for Shema, would say that Truma you're allowed to do lechatchila. You're allowed to take it off, even if you can't hear, that's fine. So the Gemara says, wait a second, how do you know that when Rabbi Yehuda says that you're yaitza for Shema, that means that lechatchila you're allowed to do it that way? Maybe Rabbi Yehuda says, you're yaitza Shema if you didn't hear it, b'diavad. And Truma, you're also yaitza if you took it off without hearing the bracha, b'diavad. And it all fits together. The Gemara even says, I could prove to you that Rabbi Yehuda only holds that you're Yaitse Shema B'di Eved if you didn't hear it. Because what's his wording? Hakoire, somebody who read is Yaitse. That means it's not how you're supposed to do it. The Gemara says, hold on a second. Hakoire is the Mishnah discussing the case. That doesn't prove that Rabbi Yehuda only holds you Yaitse B'di Eved. Maybe the reason why the Mishnah discussed the case of Hakoire B'di Eved is to tell you that Rabbi Yossi holds that in the case of B'di Eved, where you did it already, you're even not Yaitse in that case. To tell you that Rabbi Yossi goes so far as to say you're not Yaitse in that case. But really, as far as Rabbi Yehuda is concerned, we could have discussed the Chadchila. Rabbi Yehuda holds the Chadchila, you're allowed to say Shema without hearing anything, and we could have discussed it. So that's not a proof. So the Gemara continues searching for a proof. What does Rabbi Yehuda really hold? He holds that you're allowed to say Shema l'Chadchila without hearing it, or he holds that you're only Yaitse B'di Eved without hearing it. So the Gemara moves on to the next case. There's a Mishnah that states that somebody who says Brachos Hamazon too quietly to hear is Yaitse B'di Eved. It says straight out that it's B'di Eved. Now who's this? Can't be Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says you're not Yaitse at all. Now, Truma, he said we had a possibility that he would say you're Yaitse B'di Eved because that's only the Rabbanon, the Bracha. But Brachos Hamazon is a mitzvah d'oraisa, so it should be the same as Shema. So if Rabbi Yossi says you're not Yaitse at all for Shema, then he would say you're not Yaitse at all for Brachos Hamazon. So that Mishnah couldn't be him. So who is it? It's gotta be Rabbi Yehuda. And you see it says that you're Yaitse B'di Eved, not l'chadchila. So that should establish this fact that Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is that you're only Yaitse B'di Eved, not l'chadchila. Oh, the Gemara says I hear, but not so fast, because there's another Mishnah. Going back to the case of Truma, there's a different opinion in the Mishnah that says that Truma, even if you can't hear, you could take off Truma l'chadchila. Whoa, well, who's that going to be? Definitely not Rabbi Yossi, who says that you're not even Yaitse. Okay, Truma maybe he'll say B'di Eved, but not l'chadchila. And it can't be Rabbi Yehuda, because you're telling me now that Rabbi Yehuda holds you only Yaitse B'di Eved if you don't hear. So you must be wrong. It must be that Rabbi Yehuda holds you Yaitse l'chadchila. Gemara says, no, there's another person out there. Rabbi Yehuda's Rebbe, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. He says you're only Yaitse B'di Eved. That will be the opinion that says Brachos Hamazon you're only Yaitse B'di Eved. Rabbi Yehuda himself then would say that you are Yaitse l'chadchila, and that's why in the case of Truma he says you're Yaitse l'chadchila. So the Gemara at this point wants to say the following setup. L'chadchila, Rabbi Yehuda holds. Shema you can say l'chadchila, Truma you can take off l'chadchila, and Brachos Hamazon you can do l'chadchila. Our Mishnah which talked about Shema, Rabbi Yehuda said you can do it, he meant l'chadchila. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says only B'di Eved. Shema B'di Eved, Truma B'di Eved, and he's the opinion in the Mishnah that says Brachos Hamazon you're Yaitse B'di Eved. Rabbi Yossi, we have it in our Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi says you're not Yaitse at all by Shema, and he would say you're not Yaitse at all by Brachos Hamazon. Truma, he would say you're Yaitse B'di Eved. That's the set of the Gemara wants to say. The Gemara quotes this opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and the Gemara finds in the Mishnah where we have Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah who says you're only Yaitse B'di Eved. Rabbi Meir argues. Rabbi Meir says that you're Yaitse l'chadchila. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah brought the pasuk of Shema Yisrael that you have to hear. Rabbi Meir said, well, it says Asher Aleichem Etzavecha Hayom Al Levavecha in your heart. So Kavanas Alev, you just have to say it quietly even if you don't hear. So the Gemara says, okay. Now that we've established that, so then we don't know what Rabbi Yehuda holds, because we could say that the Mishnah that said that you're Yaitse l'chadchila is Rabbi Meir. And the Mishnah that said Yaitse B'di Eved is Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and we know that Rabbi Yossi says you're not Yaitse. Where does Rabbi Yehuda fall? We don't know, because we've left with three shittas that satisfy all the opinions. So the Gemara tries another approach from another halacha. We have the discussion of reading Megillah. The Gemara brings a Mishnah that says clearly that a cheresh, a person who can't hear, a deaf person, shaita, an insane person, v'katan, a child, cannot read the Megillah, and if they read the Megillah, the implication is they're not Yaitse. So Gemara says it must be Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi is the only one who says that if you can't hear what you're saying, you're not Yaitse. Gemara says no, maybe it's really Rabbi Yehuda. And it doesn't really mean you're not Yaitse. It means you're not l'chadchila, but B'di Eved you are. It works B'di Eved. So Gemara says, but how could you say that this Mishnah means that the cheresh, the deaf person, is Yaitse B'di Eved? It's put right next to shaita and katan, an insane person and child, for sure not Yaitse, they're never Yaitse. Well, Gemara is not impressed by that argument. The Gemara is not so impressed. Okay, maybe a shaita and a katan are not Yaitse at all, and a cheresh, a deaf person, is Yaitse B'di Eved. The Gemara now says, how can you tell me that this is Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda is the next line in the Mishnah. The next line in the Mishnah says Rabbi Yehuda holds a katan is yaitza. So clearly the first person talking was not Rabbi Yehuda. Gemara says, no, maybe it was Rabbi Yehuda all along. What do you mean? The first half it says a katan is not yaitza. The second half it says it is yaitza. Two types of katan. First one is talking about a very small child. The second one is talking about a child who's old enough to start doing the mitzvahs, to start having a mitzvah of chinuch. And on that, Rabbi Yehuda says he's yaitza b'diavad. So therefore, really, you could say that Rabbi Yehuda holds that a cheresh is yaitza, and it's b'diavad. The Gemara now runs through the same steps that we had before, but in a reversed order. The Gemara says, hold a second. You're now telling me that Rabbi Yehuda holds that if you can't hear what you're saying, you're yaitza b'diavad. But I have a Mishnah by Truma that says somebody holds that you're yaitza l'chatchila. And it's not Rabbi Yossi who says you're not yaitza, and now you're telling me that Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's b'diavad. So who is it? So Gemara says, so what do you want to say? That's Rabbi Yehuda who holds that it's lechatchila. But then who's going to be the one who says that by Brachos Daf you're yaitza b'diavad? Not Rabbi Yehuda. You want to say Rabbi Yehuda holds lechatchila. It's not Rabbi Yossi who says you're not yaitza at all. So Gemara says, okay, well, you know what? That's Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. And Rabbi Yehuda holds you're yaitza lechatchila. So then the Gemara says, you know what? Actually, it could be Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir argues that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. He could be the one who says that you're yaitza lechatchila. So we're left without a definitive proof, but the Gemara gives a ruling. The Gemara quotes Rav Chizda in the name of Rav Shila, who says the following thing. The halacha is that you're yaitza b'diavad, and he expresses it in the following way. He says the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, you're not allowed to say it lechatchila so quietly that you can't hear it. And the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, that b'diavad, if you did say it quietly that you can't hear it, you're yaitza. The Gemara explains it would not be enough to say that the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, because all he says is that you can't say it that way. And we wouldn't know that if you did, you're yaitza. And I can't say that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda because I don't know what he holds. I don't know if he holds like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah lechatchila, or if he holds it b'diavad, you're allowed to. But now that you told me that the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and Rabbi Yehuda, so now I know. You're not supposed to say it so quietly lechatchila, b'diavad if you did, you're yaitza. And that is the Gemara's psak. Now the Gemara quotes Rabbi Yosef that this whole discussion is only about Shema. And there are two versions about what Rabbi Yosef said next. First version, the rest of the mitzvahs in the Torah, you're not yaitza. Because it says, Haskei Sushma Yisrael, you have to hear it. The Gemara says, what do you mean? Brachos Daf. Benching. We said, Brachos Daf you're yaitza. B'diavad. The Gemara says, okay, second version. Rabbi Yosef said, this whole discussion is about Shema. But Berachos Hamazon and all other mitzvahs, everybody agrees you're yaitza. The entire discussion doesn't apply there. Everybody agrees that you're yaitza. Says Gemara, what do you mean? But it says Haskei Sushma. It says that's talking about Divrei Torah. Divrei Torah learning, you're supposed to hear your words. I'm not talking about mitzvahs. Our Mishnah had two machleksin about whether you could say Shema without hearing it and whether you could be yaitza Shema if you mumble the words. So the Gemara quotes Rav Tavi, Amar Rav Yeshaya, that said the halacha is lenient in both cases. You're yaitza in both cases. And once we brought him down, the Gemara quotes another thing in the name of Rav Tavi, Amar Rav Yeshaya. Pasuk in Mishlei compares the womb to the grave. So he asks, what's the comparison between the womb and the grave? He says, well, they're both a passing point. Something goes in and something comes out. Seed goes into the womb and a child comes out. A person goes into the grave and the person comes out. And then he says as follows, just think about it as follows. The seed goes into the room very quietly. Nobody knows about it, it's not a big deal. When the baby comes out, he's crying and screaming, very loud. When a person goes into the grave, there's a lot of crying and screaming going on. So imagine when he comes out on the other side, in the spiritual world, or in Olam Haba, imagine how much noise will be involved with that. So here is a proof, says the Gemara, that revival of the dead, Tchias HaMesim, it is referred to by the Torah itself. In Mishlei, there's this reference by comparing the womb and the grave. The Gemara now discusses an interesting halacha. In Tefillin and Mezuzah, you write down the parsha that instructs you to make Tefillin and Mezuzah. So within the parsha itself, it says, write this parsha. So do I have to write that sentence also, or I just have to write everything else? So the Gemara quotes Rav Oshia, who says, well, it says Uchsavtam, which means you have to write the whole thing, so you have to write that commanding pasuk also. And the Gemara says, why would I think not? Why would I think you should leave that out? It's part of the parsha. The Gemara says, well, you may hold like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says there is a third parsha where it says write this parsha, and there you leave out the sentence that says write it. What's that? Saita. When a saita has to drink the special water, you have to erase the parsha of saita into the water. And it says, take this parsha, write it down, and erase it in the water. So there it says, erase these curses. So Rabbi Yehuda says, only the curses, not the instruction to do this. That you can leave out. So Gemara says, well, then that has nothing to do with Shema. That is because over there it says, write the curses. I don't need you to tell me this whole drasha of V'chsaftim that doesn't apply to Shema. Why would I think that applies to Shema? Gemara says, no, you might think because in both parshas it says, write it. So I may learn from write it to write it. Just like over there, you don't write the instruction. Here also you don't write the instruction. So we have a drasha, Uchsavtem, you have to write the entire thing, even the instruction pasuk. The Gemara refers to the need to say the words clearly and not to mumble them. The Gemara quotes Rabbi Ovadia, who says in front of Rava, following halacha, when you say the words of Shema, you should be careful not to run words together, that if you have two words in a row, that the first word ends with the letter that the second word begins. If you say it quickly, it sounds like you only have one of those letters there, so you should separate them. And the Gemara gives a number of examples. Al livavecha, al levavchem, b'chol levavcha, b'chol levavchem. Esev v'sadcha, v'avadetem mehira, hakanaf pesil. Those are both phase. Eschem me'eretz. Here are all the examples where the sandwich letter is the same. And the Gemara says, anybody who reads Kriya Shema, Reb Chama Bar Chanina, anybody who reads Kriya Shema carefully, they cool off Gehenim for him. What's a pasuk? Befaresh Shaddai Melachim Ba Tashleg B'Tzalmai. The Gemara says, read it as follows. Befaresh, when you are clearly speaking. Shaddai, the words. Melachim, of accepting Ol Malchus Shemayim. Ba Tashleg B'Tzalmai. They will cool off, not B'Tzalmai, but B'Tzalmaves, the shadow of the death, which refers to Gehenim.